So outside of the stimulus, the NDA, and the government potentially shutting down, the date that a lot of us have marked on our calendars is January 6th. And the reason why is because that is the day that the electoral college votes will be officially certified in Congress. And this is the date that we're going to be able to see who's standing with the president and who is not, right? There's going to be millions of patriots potentially showing up to Washington, D.C., including myself. I plan on going if nothing else comes up, that are going to be there to support the president. Okay. And not only are we there to support the president, we're also there to see those who are not supporting the president. Okay. It's potentially the last fight for the country that we have. So moving into this, I think it's important for me to give you guys an update and to outline what's kind of currently going on and see who plans on standing up and who doesn't. And President Trump has come out more vehemently to continue to fight for this election on Twitter and in private. And we're seeing this all over the news. And Trump is, he's doing what he got to do. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman and you're watching A Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share A Black Conservative Perspective, aka a leftist worst nightmare. You can also follow me on Twitter at GForemanBCP. Let's get it. All right, guys. So let's take a look at President Trump and his recent tweets regarding how he feel this election is going. Now, Trump came out and lashed out at the Supreme Court, calling them incompetent and weak for basically not even considering the Texas case. And if you guys remember, President Trump has appealed to the Supreme Court recently, right, with the Pennsylvania case to try to get that looked at again. Now, this comes 2 days after the Supreme Court set a response deadline 2 days after the inauguration, basically signaling that they're not in a rush to hear this appeal from President Trump, which, quite honestly, guys, is a shame because the president has a point. I think the American people, regardless of how you feel, at least deserve to hear the arguments. They deserve to see the evidence. They deserve to at least have a fair hearing, right? That's what a lot of people are asking for. And I really do think a lot of Americans feel that the Supreme Court is doing a disservice. And really, at the end of the day, they're just fueling more animosity towards the establishment and our justice system, because a lot of people have been let down by the so-called conservative Supreme Court. Now, let's read a little bit more about this. The latest Trump campaign appeal to the Supreme Court won't see any action from the justices until after the inauguration. The justice this week set a reply deadline for Pennsylvania Secretary of State Kathy Hochul and the other respondents named in the case of January 22nd. The campaign had asked for the Supreme Court to order those on the other side of litigation to respond by Wednesday and to have reply briefs from the Trump campaign submitted by Thursday. It also asked the court to rule by January 6th, but the court did not oblige. Basically, President Trump wanted the Supreme Court to take a look at this and to kind of expedite this process before the Electoral College certification in Congress. And for good reason, because that's kind of where the last buck stops with this whole thing. This means that by the time Hochul and the others the Trump campaign is seeking to take to the Supreme Court even respond to the petition, President-elect Joe Biden will already be sworn in. Again, guys, I'm just reading from Fox News here. At that point, the court would simply decline to hear the case, saying it is moot or impossible for them to resolve at that point. Congress will have already counted electoral votes and certified the next president. That meeting happens on January 6th. The Trump campaign, however, argued in its brief that even inauguration day would not make the court, quote, moot, because such issues could happen in the future and therefore the court should resolve them ahead of time. Now, this is interesting from the Trump campaign, and kind of shows, you know, the genuineness that is coming from the campaign and their fight for free and fair elections in America, right? They're saying that even if worst case scenario happens, we're going to continue to fight, and it's not going to be moot because we don't want this happening in the future. I don't know what else they could do to make it more genuine that, hey, they really feel some type of way about how this election went. The Trump campaign, in a statement over the weekend, when it announced the petition, cited a statement from Justice Samuel Alito in which he cast doubt on whether it was constitutional for Pennsylvania to have its judicial branch make changes to laws governing the presidential election. Quote, this petition follows a related Pennsylvania case where Justice Alito and two other judges observed, quote, the constitutionality of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court's decision extending the statutory deadline for receipt of mail-in ballots by 8 p.m. on election day to 5 p.m. 3 days later has national importance, and there is a strong likelihood that the state Supreme Court's decision violates the federal Constitution, Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani said. This is basically where we're at with the Supreme Court. Trump is probably furious at the Supreme Court right now. And again, like I said, rightfully so. I mean, they didn't hear the Texas case. He appeals the Pennsylvania case, and they basically push it back to after Inauguration Day, basically trying to make it moot. But they're going to continue to fight according to them. Now, who also is continuing to fight is one of the president's most loyal, if not most loyal supporter thus far, Vice President Mike Pence. Now, Pence gave a speech at Turning Point USA that really got a lot of patriots fired up. Let's take a listen.
And come January 5th, we're going to hold the line in the United States Senate when we reelect Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue to a Republican majority on Capitol Hill. And as our election contest continues.
What if I told you you could go back 50? Yes, 50 generations of your family that you won't.
I'll make you a promise. We're going to keep fighting until every legal vote is counted. We're going to keep fighting until every illegal vote is thrown out. We're going to win Georgia. We're going to save America, and we'll never stop fighting to make America great again. You watch.
All right, guys. So that's Vice President Mike Pence basically reaffirming his position and his fight for voter integrity in this country, right? He talked about Georgia and how they're going to continue to fight there. And then he strongly implied here that they're going to continue the fight for the presidential election. Now, this is important coming from Vice President Mike Pence, as he is technically the president of the Senate. Okay, and he will be the one that will be presiding over the official acceptance of the Electoral College votes in Congress come January 6th. And some people believe that, well, he could play a very, very, very key role in this fight come that day. So this speech got a lot of people fired up about the possibilities of what could possibly happen on that day, as Pence plays a key role in that process. So we'll see what he actually ends up doing and how that plays out. Now, in terms of how the process works, guys, I think I've been over this multiple times and a lot of videos in terms of how this process works. So what needs to happen is that some Republican congressman, somebody from the House and the Senate, needs to object to the votes. Now, if we can get somebody from the House and some people from the Senate to object, then what happens is that there is going to be a debate and an argument regarding should the electoral votes be thrown out. Okay. Now, that's a debate that's going to happen in the House and the Senate. And if the House and the Senate agree that they should, and they come to a conclusion on it, then they'll be thrown out. So then if neither candidate reaches 270 votes that are required to win, the election comes down to the House delegations, in which the Republicans have a projected advantage at 26 delegates. And if you assume that all 26 of them go for President Trump, then President Trump would be reelected theoretically if that scenario happens. Now, let's take a look and highlight some patriots who are going to fight. We have Miss Lauren Boebert, who is a fiery, super pro-Second Amendment Congresswoman-elect from Colorado, who's stepped up and said that she's going to challenge the vote. Again, she's in the House. We have Madison Cawthorn, who's from my state, North Carolina, who is an incoming congressman in the House that says that he's going to step up and try to fight on January 6th. We have Representative Heiss, who had a big meeting with President Trump and the vice president and the president's legal team and the Freedom Caucus and other members of Congress. She's come out and said she will object to Georgia's electors on January 6th. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who said that President Trump deserves his day in court, and she strongly signaled that she is going to try to challenge in Congress as well. We have Congressman Matt Gaetz, who said that he's going to object as well. And you guys might be thinking right now, where are the senators? These are all people from the House. That's nice that we have people from the House, but where are the senators? We need some senators to step up. And your thinking is right. And we may have some senators who's going to step up, or at the very least hinted at it. So according to Forbes, a small number of Republican senators have left open the possibility of objecting to the electoral vote count when Congress meets on January 6th, even after Senator Mitch McConnell reportedly urged his caucus to reject the idea, calling it political suicide after recognizing Joe Biden as presidential-elect. The key player here is Tommy Tuberville, who unseated Democratic incumbent Doug Jones in November, appeared to support a challenge to the electoral vote during a campaign appearance in Georgia last week, without clarifying whether he would object to the count himself. According to a clip posted online by political activist Lauren Windsor, quote, "You see what's coming," Tuberville said in the clip. Quote, "You've been reading about it in the House. We're going to have to do it in the Senate." He's absolutely correct about that. So a lot of people are taking this as a strong indication that he may step up to the plate. And then we also have Ted Cruz, who has left the door open, hasn't said definitively, but he's left the door open. Senator Josh Hawley has also said that, this is an opportunity that the House and Senate members have, the only real opportunity they have to formally raise some concerns. So again, that's not really a solid answer, but hey, he's hinting at leaving the possibility open. You have Senator Mike Lee, who has not completely closed the door, even though he's acknowledged Joe Biden as president-elect. And then you have Rand Paul, who has not dismissed the idea either, who has come out in Senate hearings and basically expressed his concern about voter integrity. And then you have Lindsey Graham and Ron Johnson, who have been strong allies of the president, who have basically come out and said that, they probably won't, but they're not necessarily strongly saying they won't, but who knows? Now, guys, if you remember, this is a big deal because Mitch McConnell said in a meeting, and I did a video on this, that he did not want anybody objecting, because if they object, it is going to cause a vote that is going to clearly put a spotlight on who is with the president and who is not. And guys, this is what a lot of this is about right now. The Republican Party has been divided to the point where it's those who stand behind the president and those who don't. And the president has forced every major politician's hands to either align with him or you're a rhino. That's basically what it is at this point. And Mitch McConnell and the established Republicans have increasingly pushed back against the president, and they're pushing back against Senator-elect Tommy Tuberville, who probably is the #1 candidate right now in the Senate to have any legitimate chance at challenging the election come January 6th. So they started hit back against him because, again, he would be the key piece that would force a 2-hour debate and the vote right? The vote that is going to confirm ultimately who's with the president and who is not. And at this point, I mean, Mitch McConnell's plan of trying to keep this under the rug and not having to come out against the president is completely ruined. Completely ruined. I mean, that he just failed at that. And I mean, like I said, with this day and time, with everybody paying attention to the news, it was destined to fail. Like I said, when I first covered him saying that a couple weeks ago. Now, Senate Republican Whip John Thune said GOP leaders will tell Tuberville that voting to oppose the Electoral College vote will be futile and a politically damaging move, according to The Hill. Quote, ultimately, every senator will have to make their own decision about that, but I think there will be people, reaching out him just to kind of find out what he's going to do. Quote, if nothing else, we need to know the plan, he said. Quote, we'll see. He's made some public statements. He added, I'm hoping in the end that all senators will conclude that this election needs to be over and it's time to move on. Senator John Cornyn, a Republican from Texas and an advisor to the GOP Senate leadership, said he would be shocked if fellow GOP leaders haven't already encouraged Tuberville not to contest the vote.
Driving progress by accelerating access to clean energy. Con Edison is
all right, guys.
She's the Trump campaign's star witness, and she...
What if I told you you could go back 50? Yes, 50 generations of your family that you won't find it.
Guys, there you have it. I mean, this is basically where we're at right now. I just wanted to do this video just so you guys have a full understanding of who's standing with the president and who's potentially not. I think it's become clear to you guys that the establishment on January 6th is probably not going to stand with the president, but you have a lot of newcomers, right? A lot of incoming congressmen who are young, excited, patriots that really care about election integrity, saying that they may challenge the Electoral College votes. And we're going to see where it goes. At the very least, it seems that we may be in for a 2-hour argument on the floor about the merits of the elections around the countries in these battleground states like Georgia, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, etc., in terms of whether or not their processes were truly constitutional. And quite honestly, this is kind of the last stand. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys and give you an update on it. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.